Hello there, friends, and welcome back to a very exciting episode of Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast. I am one half of your host, Jamie, and I'm here with Mark.
Hello.
And man, I gotta be honest, I am still really on a high note from last night's AEW Full Gear.
Oh yeah.
AEW's pay-per-views never disappoint. I mean, depending on who you ask.
It depends on what side of the
think
internet you go on nowadays.
that they do not disappoint. It ended, and I looked at Mark, and I was like, that was one of the best pay-per-views I've ever watched. I actually really enjoyed it.
I did too. I had no problem
Genuinely, from beginning to end, we had very few comments to say to each other because we were just so involved in the actual pay-per-view itself.
There's so much to watch
the
entire time when it was on. And I'm floored by the response that I've seen online in the 24 hours since it's been over of how so many people have said that they didn't enjoy anything on the pay-per-view.
I have such a hard time believing that you watched this entire show
and I know a lot of
and didn't like anything.
I know a lot of criticisms coming from the whole Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland Texas Deathmatch. Where
Again,
people
not
are saying,
understanding it.
People are saying that death matches aren't exactly their thing. They didn't like it. They enjoy Hangman and they enjoy Swerve's like back and forth and the rivalry they've had in AEW, but they didn't like this particular match. They don't need people stapling, stuff to people's heads. And I understand where people's coming from, but I was just very surprised because, you and I talked about this. Like, that was deathmatch light. That wasn't...
And it was.
I mean, there was blood.
It was heavy. Like there was glass. There was staples.
But there was no less anything else in that match than there was being a John Moxley match.
Well, and I'm also a very big fan of AR Fox. I'm sorry, and Swerve Strickland's work. They had different names back then in Lucha Underground. They did what I would definitely say is a death match. One of John Moxley's favorites.
But see, even then, I think it's not as gory as what a death match is nowadays, at least the standards. But
that one in particular, the Lucha Underground one, or the one we were just watching?
Well, I mean, the one we were watching last night. But just in general, anything that's on TV, like usually that product's a little bit watered down compared to like what an actual death match is. I know the one you're talking about is it skirts that line much harder than this match did. But it was I'm just very surprised at the reactions of that match, of how people were so taken back by it. Like it was something, this ungodly, gory match where there was body parts broken and gashes and
I guess maybe if that's
wounds
not your thing,
I guess,
you don't watch it.
But then
I just have a hard time believing that you watch the AEW product and you didn't like the pay-per-view. That's where I think my understanding of this is.
Oh yeah, that blows my mind in general.
It's exactly what I expected it to be. But at any rate, let's not focus on the negative things about the internet community, because we could spend an entire podcast just talking about that. Let's really focus on some of the positive things and the
all the good stuff,
highlights of what you can remember. To you, from beginning to end, including the pre-show, there was 11 matches.
Right.
I went about 5 hours altogether, so there was quite a bit.
Yeah, it got down. I don't remember what exactly time it was, but I know
we're about 12:15, something like that, 12, Eastern time. So to you, what was the standout match?
If you're going to talk about performance, I'd have to go with Swerve Strickland and Adam Page. But if you're going to talk about what one kind of caught me to where I sat there and went, "Wow, I can't believe this is what we're doing," not in a bad way, I've got to go with the 3-way for the TBS Championship. I mean,
okay, so let's put it in this perspective. 5 years from now, we're talking about Full Gear, the legend of Full Gear, everything that's happened over the last couple of years, and we talk about AEW Full Gear 2023. What is the first thing that you think is going to come to your mind?
Again, it's going to be Swerve and Adam.
Yeah, that everlasting moment of just...
it's going to be like...
That was 100% given by both guys.
Oh, yeah, it's from go. It wasn't a gradual, like, walk into it. It was... Swerve came out, and then Hangman came out at a full sprint, and then both of them never stopped until they hit the finish line.
No, and we're looking at the Wikipedia, so we have the times for all of the matches. This match actually went the longest. It was, 5 seconds short of 30 minutes?
It was 5 seconds short of 30 minutes, and it went 10 seconds longer than the main event.
Insane. I mean, I really thought when it started it was going to be 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes.
Right.
That they'd be able to have such intensity that it would be over pretty quickly because of how bad you're putting your body through this kind of stuff.
Right,
and it just kept going. And trust me, that's not a complaint in the absolute slightest. I just don't see how those guys were able to like easily get out of bed this morning.
Oh, I don't think they did. I don't think wouldn't be surprised if they weren't in bed still.
No.
By the time everybody else in the world was up and moving around.
And it legit seemed like there was no gimmick involved. It wasn't, you guys are supposed to hate each other for the pay-per-view. It was, we hate each other.
I feel like this is one of those conversations between two professionals that sat down and said, hey, we've got something special here. And we're both willing to go that extra mile.
Mm-hmm. So will you drink my blood?
Why don't we move? But I think that's really what it is. Is like you sit down and, I mean, Hangman's kind of a polarized figure in wrestling as of the past couple of years.
Sure,
he's been
and
on
pretty known to be a baby face,
Well, he's been known on interviews of saying that he listens to advice that he's given, but sometimes he doesn't follow the advice because he feels like that he's done something that other individuals don't do, and I feel like that this is kind of a testament to that, to where,
sure,
yes, granted, him drinking Swerve's blood isn't something that I guess I would consider like in a collegiate paper of why professional wrestling should be considered an art and not just a violent, entertainment sport.
That wouldn't be part of the topic.
No, I mean, but hold on, I think there is though. I hate. I'm going to piss somebody off on the internet, but I feel like John Moxley and his whole, the whole dissertation about how blood in professional wrestling is a thing. Like, I kind of think it has some weight to it because it's like an action movie. That's what when I was watching that match, that's what I was thinking when I was looking at Swerve's blood just literally pouring from his head. I was thinking of all those Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, the Sylvester Stallone movies, the Jean-Claude Van Damme, the all the action movies from the 80s and 90s where it's just guns, knives, grenades, and just the most over the top violence, and knowing damn well that none of it's true, knowing damn well that RoboCop couldn't shoot a man in the nuts between a woman's legs with a skirt on and having like that precision and taking him out, knowing that all this stuff is just unrealistic, that this is not, if this was an actual fight between two men, this would be ridiculous. 15 seconds into it.
Who brings a stapler to a fight?
Who drinks another man's blood?
Right.
And it's one of those things to where I think that it's part of it. It's part of the magic of Disneyland, of that this is a person in a costume. It's not an actual anthropomorphic, mouse that's standing there and looking at you. But you haven't seen anybody
climb into that mouse costume, so you don't know for sure.
It's Schrodinger's mouse, you know what I mean? It's it's there, but you don't know it's there.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing. Like, you get these two guys and they're putting on a performance. Yes, that performance is not for the faint of heart because not everybody is used to seeing in a real life capacity blood pouring from another individual.
Right, because you can't fake that.
But in that same stroke, I watched a movie on an airplane about a guy who was exorcising demons, and they threw a mirror out the window and it shattered, and like all this crazy stuff. Like, I know that's a fake movie. I know that this isn't real. I know this is a story and computer generated graphics. And I feel like that's what you got with
entertainment
with Adam Page and Swerve Strickland.
Sure.
Yes, it was gory. Yes, it was violent. Yes, it was
that
everything that everybody. Yeah, that ooh factor of like,
or that yuck factor. You know.
But tell me that's why horror movie enthusiants don't go to horror movies.
I can tell you right now it is because I am a horror movie enthusiast.
You want the jaw ripped off and the tongue hanging out and the eyeballs popped out and ears ripped off with the spikes hanging out.
Exactly. Why did they just do that?
And I think that's what this is, and I think that's what professional wrestling really boils down to: is why would two men involuntarily get in between a ring and beat the shit out of each other over a piece of 40-pound leather and stamped steel with shiny plate on it?
I mean, those two weren't even fighting over a belt.
No, and I know that,
grudges.
But I'm just saying, like, all of it's fucking fake, and I feel like when you do,
well, but it's entertainment.
When you look at it, like, oh well, that would never happen. Well, no fucking shit, that wouldn't happen. That's why it's called deathmatch wrestling. It's part of the art. It's part of the magic. It's part of the story. It's part of it. If you don't like it, just change the channel.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would have been
go
very
get some
easy
coffee.
to have done.
Go take a pee. It was what the third to last show or match on the card. So you still had almost an hour worth of go take a shit. go fill out that email you never filled out for work.
Run to the grocery store, get another gallon of milk.
Yeah, you never know.
What you gotta do.
It's the bathroom break for some people, but for me,
that's okay.
For me, I think
that was a not miss situation for me.
I think it's going to be one of those ones that people are going to go back and think of 2023 and go, man, Full Gear had a nutty ass non-main event for a non-title, just a fight between two guys.
Yeah, exactly. So let me elaborate a little bit more on this while we're talking about it. And going back, we both thought before this match happened, we did our predictions, hashtag CAW predictions if you haven't done so already. Next time we've got a pay-per-view, which is going to be
this
Survivor
weekend.
Series this weekend.
Actually, we'll be doing our Survivor Series / War Games predictions at the end of this episode, so
exactly.
make sure you stay tuned.
Exactly. So if you want to keep up with ours or see what everybody else has to say, again, hashtag CAW predictions.
I'm reigning champion. Did it again this year.
He did.
This pay-per-view.
I was going to say, but at any rate, we both had thought that maybe Hangman was going to win this match to kind of make it, even out that rubber. Swerve won the first one. Hangman
Tony
win
loves
this one.
Rubber matches. I mean, he loves setting them up. He loves like bringing like a special aspect to him. So I mean, it kind of just felt like that Hangman was going to take this one.
But he didn't. Swerve ended up winning in the end. I don't really know how to describe a win because both of them were, like I said, absolutely exhausted and dead at the end of the match.
Literally the only one. No, I forgot. I got the tag match wrong.
Yeah.
Bastards. Everybody failed me.
Let me ask you, just your personal opinion. What do you think this storyline, like how did that match help this storyline? Oh, it's not over.
There's no way this is over.
Yeah. Where is this going to go, though?
I don't know. But I mean, you're going to tell me that that Swerve broke into this man's house, humiliated him, did all these things to him, and then he loses after talking all of that trash, bringing all of that personal stuff into the promo he cut this past week before the pay-per-view. There's no way. I think you're going to see a change in Hangman to where he is going to be a more violent Hangman. And
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Swerve made a comment about somebody had asked him on an interview, how do you feel about Hangman bringing up your personal life, about your kids and about your ex and about this, that, and the other thing. And he even said, it's kind of a weird feeling to be on the other end of that. I've been the one that brings that up, and I've been the one that crosses that line, and it's been different for me on, to be on the other end of that. And he said, but if you look, he said, Hangman's not wearing the colors anymore. Hangman's not wearing the frilly stuff. He's not looking very jovial. He's not looking very happy. Every time he walks out, he's got a sneer on his face, and he's trying to punch somebody in the mouth. He said, and Swerve's. I think this is going to play into it, where Swerve is trying to bring out that dog in Hangman.
Okay.
And he has. This past match was. We all know that Hangman can hang. There's
whether
no doubt.
He won or not.
There's no doubt. We all, even beyond this match, if you've never seen this match, and we talk about Hangman Adam Page, if you've seen any of his stuff before this, you know that he's not afraid to go that extra mile.
Absolutely.
Where we take this, I think we're going to see Swerve start getting more into the head of Hangman. Maybe they won't have that back and forth again, but maybe we're going to see a more broken Hangman. He's always talked about how fragile his mental stability is, and how he's got anxiety out the roof, and,
anxious millennial and all that.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good little way to play into it, to where, again, not making light of an individual's mental health in any way, shape, or form, but utilizing that as a storytelling seed to develop a character like Hangman that has so much to offer to the AEW audience.
I like that. I almost think it would be fun to do kind of the opposite way. Instead of having Swerve be in that position, have Hangman be in that position now, to where Swerve's like, I beat you twice, like you're behind me kind of thing, but Hangman just can't let it go, and now he's kind of showing up at his house.
He's on Swerve's tail all the time.
Yeah.
He's showing up to lunch somewhere that he has with his kids.
Exactly. Skipping his kid's birthday party to follow Swerve around.
Door.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a snapped thing, almost like Joker
Pillman.
Sting. No, I was not going that route.
Man, you know what? Brian Pillman brought like a 40. I think it was a 1911 he pulled out. It was. Don't get me wrong. A 1911 is a gorgeous gun, but I feel like Swerve is the individual that doesn't pull out a 1911. He pulls out an AK-47, an MG-42. He's got a couple of Uzis. He's got like more guns than you could even imagine. So yeah, I don't think going the Brian Pillman route would be a good idea.
No,
for
I
Hangman.
really don't think so.
But I liked it. I didn't really think of it that way, to where you kind of flip it to where Swerve's on the receiving end of the guy that's up his ass all the time.
Exactly. It's almost like a Dexter Loomis and Miz kind of thing, but the opposite way, That
was such a good rivalry.
It was, and it was really fun. You had like Miz be at home with Maurice, and then all of a sudden he would just look outside and see Dexter Lumis out there, and like that. How fun would that be?
And then Maurice would look, and he's not there, and she's like, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
Yeah, like, but look do that same thing. You know, you've got no boobs. Like you're somewhere.
I just love that.
You're at Swerve's recording studio, and him and Prince Nana are passing the blunt back and forth, and all of a sudden,
do you think he
just sees?
Do you think he ended up stealing his weed still?
I don't know, but people had signs asking Hangman to steal their weed.
That was the best line of that promo.
The whole time Mark and I were watching... I'm going to
kick your ass, and then I'm going to kick his ass and steal his weed.
The whole time we were watching the death match, we were like, this is so overly dramatic for somebody who stole somebody's weed. Like, but the whole time...
So good. It was so good. The entire... I know it wasn't all about, it over weed, but the idea that he brought that up, and then that was like a focal point. It was too good.
But just like I said, imagine them. They're hanging out. They're passing the blunt back and forth, and Swerve just looks over, and in the dark, he just sees Hangman. He just sees Hangman, and he's just like looking at him. And he looks at Prince Nana, and he's like, "Nana, you see? Is that Adam over there?" And he's like, "Swerve,
you're losing it, man. He's got in his head.
You shouldn't hit. I'm not gonna pass this back to you. Like, nah."
He starts blaming Swerve. Where'd the blunt go? The Hangman just took it. He's standing out in the rain, smoking, looking through the window. I mean, yeah, you could do a lot with it. You could, but I don't think we're done with it.
Gritty. No, we're not done. I don't know how match-wise this ends, because where do you go from here?
I think you got to. I think at that point,
casket match. A literal death match.
No, not a casket match. That's for Darby Allin, and he's going up Mount Everest here soon.
Yeah, let's hope he's not going to be dealing with a casket after that.
Shout out to that match for having Edge and Christian not even touch that entire trios match.
And I think that's really important. Like, one of the most important, like, understated things about this pay-per-view was that we opened with a 3-on-3 with Sting. Edge on one side and Christian on the other. And
no, Edge retired.
Well,
Adam Copeland.
Come on. But still, you have these guys that are on the opposite side of each other, and Christian does the typical heel thing when Adam gets in the ring with him, and he tags Luch out. Oh, yeah, and they never have that, like, physical interaction between each other. So they're just going to make us wait.
They tease it to where it's like, by the fingertips, they just barely miss. But yeah. But I mean, that's that long-term storytelling everybody's complaining that AEW doesn't have.
This is going to be that exact thing. And I love that Adam Copeland came in, and it wasn't exactly what you thought. Well, he's gonna team up with Christian.
Well, that's what he originally
tag team reign.
That's what he originally had planned when he came in, and like you said, I like how they did that, where they didn't play into that right away. And I'm sure we're gonna get that. What fun would that be? I'm sure we're gonna get that eventually.
Eventually down
Tony
the road.
Khan, like let's be honest here, Tony Khan's kind of a mark. And he likes those wrestling feel good moments, just like you like it, just like I like it. And you can
call me a mark too, because TLC 3.
Oh yeah,
is going down.
Oh yeah, I'm all about it. They haven't hinted towards it yet, but I'm all about it.
They don't have to.
What they do have to do is they have to keep this belt on Orange Cassidy forever.
Absolutely,
international champion forever. The tribal sloth. Like Jon Moxley,
tribal sloth.
Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy opened up. No, they didn't. I'm sorry, they were the second match. I'm all screwed up. They had a match for the AEW International Championship. I've said that already. Going all over my words. I really don't give a shit anymore. I've done this way too many times to go back again now. What a great match between these two. I mean,
this was really important.
What else do you expect from these two? Like two of like AEW's sweethearts right now.
Right. And to an outsider, they could have thought that this was just like typical wrestling move where you have somebody win and then not too long after they rematch again. And it would seem like this is not necessarily an important thing. This was probably one of the most important matches of the pay-per-view, I think, personally, because it told so much of a story for Orange Cassidy, and it's going to set such a precedence on the rest of his reign that he was able to defeat the one person he hasn't been able to win against.
This was the title defense or title match that meant more than just whether it was on person A or person B.
Right.
This had more to it than Tony Storm winning the belt. This had more than Swerve beating Hangman. This was a completion of one of AEW's one of their most prolific championship reigns since Jade Cargill in the TBS championship.
Absolutely. He went all those matches, all those defenses, all those weeks of just wrestling at least once a week.
And if you want to keep the kayfabe wall up, that injury that just kept lingering over and over, and it seemed like every single time, it was the hand, then it was his lower back, and then it was his shoulder. It was just
can't blame him.
Kept falling apart, and finally the only man that was able to even take down an injured Orange Cassidy was Jon Moxley, the one guy that probably could take more pain than just about anybody in that company.
And at the end of that match, Jon was like winded, like, wow.
Oh, yeah, he made it very clear that it was not an easy job.
Wow.
It was great.
He looked completely thrown off by the fact that he had such a difficult time beating Orange Cassidy.
And they did this so well to where, Jon goes in. He wants, from the minute the bell rings to the middle, till the bell's done, he wants to be, it's violence.
Yeah.
And
let's bring
Orange
all the belts we can to BCC,
Orange Cassidy's not that way. It's the bell starts and, I don't
care.
Hands
in the pockets. Kicking the shins,
Doing like just antics to get out of situations,
right.
It just...
Jon brings out a different style for Orange Cassidy. It makes him a different man. It makes him a different wrestler.
But he has to be.
He can't approach Jon in that manner because Jon will beat the shit out of you 15 seconds into the match and you're done.
Right.
So you can't approach Jon in that manner. You have to approach him in a different way, and it's interesting to see Orange Cassidy be so flustered by Jon and vice versa. No, they don't.
If you put gravity in a match with Jon Moxley and he does that slow motion walk bullshit,
Jon
Moxley's
his neck.
he's gonna take his legs out and drop his knee on his neck.
Yeah, probably spit on him on the way out. Like, what an idiot.
So, but this was
not that he's an idiot, but
this was a solid match, bell to bell, between two of AEW's, I guess, probably biggest guys they have going right now.
Sure.
Probably the most consistent popping individuals. And let's be honest, in a television wrestling company, you want your big pop guys to be on the pay-per-view, and these guys did not disappoint. Jon Moxley bled all over the place like he always does. Orange, it felt like he was going to just give up any moment, never ended up doing it, ended up hitting Jon with 5 orange punches,
I think,
and a beach break to finally put him down.
And
he
was no-selling it left and right.
Oh yeah,
which is again an important thing for Jon too. You can't have him hit Orange Cassidy hit one orange punch and Jon's out.
Right,
that doesn't make Jon look good. So it made him look like an absolute beast because he just ate everything for dinner.
Right,
and didn't even phase him. But yeah, like you said, I think it was 5 orange punches and a beach break. He was just done. He was just done.
It was good, though. It was a really good resolution to the only blemish on Cassidy's reign as the international champion.
Exactly.
And now he can move forward with where he's at now to bigger and better pastures with the belt for the second reign.
Exactly. So there were a lot of surprises at AEW Full Gear. Thankfully, one of them was not that Ronda Rousey was the one.
God damn it.
I have to. If you know me, you notoriously know I'm just not a Ronda Rousey fan. When I heard she was in Ring of Honor, I'm not going to lie, I got a sour taste in my mouth. I was like, Tony Khan, you are not going to sit there and pretend like we like Ronda Rousey and that signing her is a good idea and that is your big surprise for AEW Full Gear. Unfortunately, or for her, but fortunately for us, that was not the announcement.
Do you know
we got a lot of... Oh, go ahead.
Do you know how I saw the whole Ronda Rousey thing?
What's up?
I didn't fully understand when I saw it, right? So we didn't end up watching all of Collision and Rampage on Friday. We still haven't watched SmackDown. Got to go back and watch that. I was up way too late Friday night.
Okay.
Way too late. And when I went to bed, you lay down in bed and I plug my phone in, and I'm closing all my little windows on my phone because I'm weird like that. And I got to Instagram and I clicked on it real quick just to make sure I didn't miss anything with the notifications. And sure as shit, all I saw was a picture of Ronda Rousey, and I just stared at it. And I didn't read the caption. I just shut the phone off and put it down and laid there for about 15 seconds, and through my head was just like, oh my God, please don't tell me that was the signee on Collision.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
your brain's trying to process it. Like, what?
Please don't tell me I just saw number one. I ruined it for myself, for, like, seeing who it was, and number 2, that it was Ronda Rousey. Like, it really, it fucked with me for like 5 straight minutes until I was able to finally go to sleep.
It was funny, and I mean, by all means, again, we try to be a very positive podcast, but when I saw Ronda Rousey, I just saw a picture and it said Ronda Rousey's made her debut in Ring of Honor. Right. All I could think was Tony Khan said it was somebody we liked.
Yeah.
He said most of us respect this person.
And it's not that we don't respect Ronda Rousey. I just, as a professional wrestler, I don't like her.
No,
I didn't like anything she did in WWE.
Professional wrestler in any capacity.
Because she's not. She's a fighter.
Oh, sure.
She's a real fighter.
She's great at that.
She'll really kick my ass.
Yeah, exactly. But I digress. So we had a lot of surprises. Again, thankfully, that was not one of them. We did get to find out about a fantastic new signing, which isn't a huge surprise, of Will Ospreay. We got a couple title changes. What was the most surprising moment for you, or the moment that I guess just kind of caught you off guard? Did you have anything like that? Because I know I definitely did.
Will Ospreay signing definitely. I mean, it didn't catch me off guard. I mean, the announcement did, how early it is, because it was his contract supposedly not fully done until February with NJPW.
So he said, wait till Revolution, I'll be back.
But knowing that the working relationship that NJPW and AEW have, it wasn't surprising that he was the individual that they signed. So when it came out, I was excited. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm stoked on it. But it wasn't like oh my God, when Kevin Nash and Razor Ramon went over to WCW.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those, right.
But it was definitely one of those, oh, this is awesome. We get to see Will Ospreay in an AEW, ring a lot more. The most surprising of the night for me had to be, honestly, Julia Hart winning. And I know I said something about earlier that's one of my.
I was going to say that was your prediction, right?
Yeah, it was. But Julia Hart, she's 22. She is now the youngest.
She's only 22.
She is the youngest AEW champion in the company's history.
Good for her.
Previously beating her was Riho when she won the inaugural AEW Women's Championship. Yeah. She was 22. But Julia Hart is only about, I think it was 3 months younger than her.
Wow.
So she now she is the youngest women's, not just the women's champion, the youngest champion in AEW.
That's great. Just got married a few months ago.
Which Good means she's only been,
or just a few weeks ago. Sorry,
she's only been in the professional wrestling industry for 4 years, and she's probably one of the top women talents in AEW.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's beyond the wrestling; it's the storytelling that's involved with it.
Oh, it's the character development. It's the
she's 100% the leader of the House of Black.
The way that she carries this character is just so well done.
It really is
so well done.
She went from a cheerleader to, again, the leader of the House of Black.
I know,
insane TBS champion,
and stays consistent with it. Stays well within the character. Stays. Like, it does everything right.
Yeah, and the photo shoots that she's always putting out.
Oh, they're
putting
great.
On Twitter.
They're great. I absolutely love it. They've done a great job building her, and they did the same thing with Jade Cargill, but unfortunately kind of blew up in her face. But I think they did a great job taking this talent and looking at her and saying, okay, she's nothing right now. What can we make her?
Right.
And they've made her into something that is really going to, because even if she gets out of the House of Black in 6 months, a year, 2 years, at the end of her AEW career, she's got so much backstory. She's got so much steam behind her now that she can go in any direction from here, and it would be a good way for her. Mm-hmm. It's blown my mind as to how quickly she's raised her bar and has impressed people with being involved with 3 massive dudes that are constantly just destroying people. She is probably the one out of the 4 of them that has the most storyline that I'm interested in.
Yeah,
the House of Black is just a bunch of spooky guys being mean, and they got a bunch of tattoos, and they're really strong.
Yeah,
and they bark. Julia Hart is so much more than that.
Yeah.
And putting the belt on her, now it's like, what's next for her?
Yeah, they better black out that title.
Oh, yeah. They got to do the same thing they did with the trios titles.
Yeah, exactly. But put some red in there for
Julia Hart by far. I was. Yeah. I know I predicted it, but I predicted it only because of how well they did with her and how good giving her the belt would do for AEW women's division.
I agree. I think the biggest WTF moment for me before, like, just related to this exact match,
right?
Sky Blue coming back, new theme song,
that theme was dope.
Different gear, the makeup on her face. I literally had full body chills. I was like, damn.
I'm so glad she doesn't have that Scooby-Doo garbage outfit anymore. I don't know what it was about that. That just, I don't know.
I think that was the intention, was
Probably.
to make it so bubblegummy that people hated it. And then once she came back like that, people were like,
she did a great job.
Holy shit. So that was definitely one of those good moments for me.
Not hating on Scooby-Doo. Like, I watched Scooby-Doo as a kid.
Well, it makes you think of it being a
fucking
kid.
mystery machine.
Yeah. That was definitely really cool. But I think the biggest moment for me that was an absolute shocker I wasn't expecting was the ladder match that was announced at the, just a few days ago, that it was going to be a ladder match. It was a tag team match that was for the AEW Tag Team Championships. We had, obviously, the champs, Big Bill, Ricky Starks. They fought La Facción Ingobernales, FTR,
you got balls
and
saying
Kings
that
of the
name.
Black Throne. We both thought, same with Julia Hart, Kings of the Black Throne were going to be able to come through. Everybody was going to be strapped to the gills with black belts. Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Black gold everywhere.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Except for Buddy.
Although I do think Brody King was definitely the MVP of that match in general. He was such a beast. They did not end up coming through with the tag team championships, but Ricky and Big Bill did. And honestly, before this match started, we always have these moments where, you're like, oh, I definitely think this person's going to win. I just remember looking over at you and being like, I could see anybody but Big Bill and Ricky retaining.
I know.
I just can't see them holding onto these belts. They must be transitional champions. Like, I can't see it. And for them to be able to retain, I was like, that was a really good way to put them over. And I never thought about it from that perspective till it happened. I was like, damn, they just beat all these guys.
Right. Like
FTR,
we just said, who's they've established themselves as legendary AEW tag champions.
Absolutely. You have LFI. Roosh is just absolute beast. This has no problem whatsoever, just slaughtering you.
Brody and Malachi, I mean, they were already trios tag champions.
Exactly.
Just so good.
The two of them would tear you limb from limb. So the idea that Ricky and Big Bill won, I was like, that was like the biggest holy shit moment for me, because I did not think that was going to happen, but I'm not mad at it.
It's funny you say that, because I remember I didn't get to watch every bit of that. I was up and down a little bit that one particular time. And I sat down, and I remember looking down at my phone for a second, and then I heard, he's going up the ladder, he's got the belt. And I just looked up and went, wait, what? I got so confused, because it was such a quick interaction, and I saw the replay. He broke the laws of wrestlers going up ladders, and like the last three rungs, like do and pulled the belt off. Which is kind of
nice. It's not the generic. Every time there is any type of match where you have to reach for belts like this, I always think of the WWE games where you're just trying to...
You're tapping the button, but you're hitting the wrong button, so your guy's just convulsing, standing on the ladder.
And you're just standing up there as Zack Ryder, and you don't understand why you just can't grab the Money in the Bank
Hands
briefcase.
Are out. You're touching the briefcase, but for some reason, in the world of 2K games, your brain and your hands can't figure out how to pull.
And you're just going woo, 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 trying to get that last X.
Yeah, I just
so frustrated, and that's like what it is in real life when you're watching these wrestling matches with the same thing. When you're trying to reach for the briefcase,
especially when you get one of those,
your fingers don't work.
Moments where you've got one guy, he's at the top of the ladder, he's not supposed to win, and the guy who's supposed to knock him off isn't in the ring yet.
Yeah, so Jeff Hardy's up there, and he's just staring.
Like swatting at the belt that's 2 inches away from his face.
Exactly. He's trying to kick Bobby Lashley because he knows he's supposed to be all the way up here. It's dumb. And then you keep looking down and you're waiting for him, and you're like, oh, they're not there yet, so I'm just going to wait here, and I'm going to take this one rung. It's going to take me 5 minutes to get up this one rung. So yeah, it was, I guess, out of the norm, because it just happened. It just happened. It was just over. One thing
AEW has been able to do really well with these multi-man matches is they don't have a lot of downtime, because they focus usually on one or two things in a multi-man match like this. Right. It's not a complete 8 versus 8 or 2 or 4 teams of 2 all at once beating the hell out of each other.
It's too much to comprehend, not only production wise, but
they have figured out, or these guys have had to do it so much that they've figured out a good way to where the viewer at home has something to sink their teeth into on the TV, but then you also see around the ring and around the arena or wherever it may be with these matches that they're putting on shows for everybody in attendance, not just what's on the camera. And you don't see 4 guys on the outside of the ring. You do see it. Like, it's inevitable. You're going to have that happen to where you're having not lulls in the match, but you're going to have those slow moments in the match to build up to the bigger moments, and you're going to have 3/4 of the participants knocked out on the side of the ring. But a lot of times with these pay-per-view matches, you don't see that as much, and they have a good chemistry of them to be able to do that. And even this match was not one of those ones where I couldn't keep up with everything that was going on. Usually the focus of what was going on TV was the focus, and then everything around was like supplementary. That if you didn't see it, great, but if you swapped cameras over to it and you saw Big Bill and Brody King beating the hell out of each other, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not missing anything.
Right, but it's not like they're just sitting there going, ow, my head.
Right.
Like a lot of, and I hate saying it, but a lot of like WWE, it feels like that happens a lot, to where there's 6 to 8 to 10 people in a match. And I mean, we've got War Games coming up.
Sure.
To where 3/4 of the guys are, or even the girls, are knocked out on the outside of the ring, nursing a knee, nursing an ankle, an elbow, a forehead, their gut, their boob, like whatever it is. And then you have like the 2 main people of the storyline going at it in the ring, and there's a bad way to do it, and it seems like AEW's kind of figured out that niche to where it's not a boring, it's not either everything's happening or nothing's happening.
Oh, exactly.
They've been able to work around that to where it's interesting the entire time. So this match was, you're able,
they're telling multiple stories at the same time,
long, and I feel like 19 minutes of it was entertainment. But if we're going to bring up entertainment, you got to bring up timeless Toni Storm.
I'm just absolutely loving her. Like, she ended up winning the belt.
New AEW Women's.
And 3-time AEW Women's champion.
Congratulations to her.
The entertainment factor is just off the charts with her.
Oh, it's been amazing.
This like broken Marilyn Monroe style, like 50s actress.
Right.
She's going to explode any minute. I just, every week I look forward to it. The interactions with RJ City, the silent movies, just everything. They've really thought about it and made somebody who, to me, I was like, okay, Toni Storm's okay, but there's nothing really special to me personally. This is just my opinion.
You're preaching to the choir here on that one.
So like with this is just incredible. Like, I think this was, again, just a really important thing. And maybe that's the whole theme of the pay-per-view, is there's a lot of storytelling that progresses with this.
Right.
This isn't the end of almost any of these rivalries.
Oh, no.
I feel bad for Shida because she had to lose the belt again.
Yeah.
But I really like where this is going. Mariah May is being introduced into it, maybe as like a new assistant.
Somebody that might come back to bite her in the ass.
I really, really like this. It was only 10 minutes. It was very short and sweet. The way it ended, she was just dead on the mat, all black and white. The camera from above was just... great.
I really enjoyed this match. I'm glad to see Toni Storm has the belt. My opinion on her has changed tenfold. I've done a complete 180 on her ever since she came to AEW. My only criticism of this and the storyline and the way that it went and Toni winning is I feel like that Hikaru Shida has not gotten her storyline with that belt to really make it seem like she had a good run with the belt. It just seems like, and I saw somebody say something about, wow, this is the second time that Hikaru Shida has been a transitional champion with the women's belt. And at first I kind of stubbed my nose up at that. And then the more I kind of thought about it was like, damn, no, they kind of have a point.
And people love Hikaru Shida, so I don't understand the reason for it.
But she gets, they
don't really come up with any type of story for her. And maybe the nice guy isn't the right role for her. Maybe she does need to go. Yeah,
because we haven't really seen her in a full heel.
I think they tried to tease it a little bit. Maybe when like she was fighting with Britt Baker.
Well, when they had the Outsiders.
Yeah, the Outcasts.
Yeah, when they started forming, originally Shida was kind of with them for a little bit because she got wronged by Britt Baker. I think Britt Baker had something to do with her losing the title. I can't remember off the top of my head, but she was beefing with Britt Baker and all that, and then slowly started moving over towards the other side. So they hinted towards it, but we haven't seen like really a full-fledged shift into it.
I think maybe they were hesitant to make her heel. I really don't know, but I think that might be a good idea for her.
This could be the catalyst for it.
Same thing as Toni. I lost the belt and I just
like I said, I love that Toni has the belt. I think that she has the steam behind her right now with the timeless character. to be able to do this the right way and have a better run than the last time she had. I know Jamie Hayter is supposedly on the cusp of coming back fairly soon. I would love to see Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter go at it again.
I want to see Mariah May.
Mariah May has just showed back up. I think she's going to be an interesting component to Toni Storm and where you go with it from here.
Yes, and please do yourself a favor. If you do not know who we're talking about, take just a minute, go on X, follow at CAW Wrestling Pod, first of all. And then head on over to the search bar and just look up Mariah May Stardom.
Oh, yeah. She hits
look up
hard.
The match with Julia.
She hits harder than most men do in the wrestling circuit
Absolutely
right now.
Unreal. She's going to bring a really, really great dynamic. Like you said, Jamie Hayter being back. The two of them and Athena hit so unbelievably hard.
It's going to be good. Good times.
All right. So it would not be an AEW pay-per-view if we did not discuss the devil, baby. We did not discuss Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who
CM Punk
has always lately is always putting himself in the most ridiculous of situations because his partner and best friend and brochacho Adam Cole
for life
has been injured. He broke his foot in the most unfortunate, ridiculous way.
He was trying to help his buddy Max.
Jumped down from the platform, broke his foot, had to have multiple surgeries. At any rate, so obviously he can't help defend the championship with Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Not
they
that
are
championship.
The ROH tag team champions.
Apparently not that championship, but he can defend the AEW World Championship.
Well, let's get right into that. So basically the way that they've been setting up Full Gear is that the Guns, Austin and Colton,
bang, bang.
will be fighting MJF and a partner of his choosing,
which we did
on
not
the pre-show
know
of Full Gear.
Yeah, we did not know until Collision the day before.
Right, a little bit of a disappointment to find out it was Samoa Joe, but that's okay.
Yeah, not that Samoa Joe was a bad partner.
There is some storyline there, so let's work with it here.
Not that Joe's a bad partner. Just it was a lot of lead up for what seemed like a very obvious choice.
Exactly. It was kind of okay, yeah, of course it's Joe. So
right.
Basically, the stipulation was, I'll help you if you give me a shot at your world title.
Right.
Fair enough. I wasn't sure if this was going to backfire for MJF.
Well, given the situation, whether it was fair or not, I think
can't trust Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah, because he never said. He said, "If I help you successfully defend."
That is correct. So I thought he was also going to pull something like that because he is Samoa Joe. That is not the route that it went. He was able to successfully defend the titles with Samoa Joe, but he did sustain some injuries by
MJF. You're talking about, right?
Yes, I'm so sorry. MJF did sustain some injuries by Bullet Club Gold. I don't know. I don't even remember what happened to Samoa Joe at that point, but
so he walked off. His job was done.
Oh, okay.
The match was over.
I didn't say I'd stay afterwards to help you. I just said I'd help you fight this match.
He did his job just like he was employed to do. He walked off, and Guns came down, or not the Guns. The Bullet Club came down and just started beating the hell out of Paul
and
Max.
It was Austin and Colton.
Ended up
beating him up and hurting his foot.
And it was his foot or his knee. I don't remember.
Foot, knee,
Actually,
ankle.
I think it's his leg.
Leg, it doesn't really matter. He went to the local medical facility and he was out. So before
we're done.
Yeah, before they put him in the back of the ambulance, he was just, Adam.
Well, at this point, you got to set up
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole had showed up to help, be in his buddy's corner.
Right, he can't do much, but he's going to be there to help, support him, which is quite kind of him considering how badly broken his foot is.
And considering how badly he treated Roderick Strong as a friend when he was injured and in the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he only stayed for like maybe 15 seconds. Like, I feel like, again, it's a terrible friend. Yeah,
Why even show?
You might as well just make a phone call at that point.
So they're putting him into the back of the ambulance, and MJF again yells out to Adam, whatever you do, do not let them take my championship.
Right.
So I can't exactly remember what happened because I was in the bathroom, but I could hear it. I believe Tony Schiavone said that MJF was unable to compete. He was the hospital.
They had Jay White had an ironclad contract. And if the match was not to happen because MJF could not participate, then he forfeits the match, hence giving Jay White the championship with no match happening.
Right. And that's basically what they said. Jay, new...
Nobody's here to challenge you, so you are and they were about to hand him the belt, and Adam Cole's music hit. He comes out and says, well, I'm busted and broken, but I made Max a promise, so I'm going to challenge... I'm going to step in place, and for 3 straight hours we had. It was going to be Adam Cole with a busted ass foot was going to be taking on Jay White for the AEW World Championship.
And I just couldn't rack my brain around what was going to happen here.
And they took
how was this going to happen? Like who was going to be able to pull? How?
I thought
he could barely walk.
I thought it was kind of cheesy.
It was cheesy.
I thought because all he did, he stole an ambulance and drove back to the arena.
They never addressed
and
that.
Said, "Okay, no, I'm here. I'm gonna challenge for it. Like this is my fight." And I was like, "Okay, cool." I feel like we could have done that without sending him to the hospital, but I mean, then it explains why you don't see him for 3 straight hours.
Exactly.
So I can.
This storyline is very overdramatic, anyways.
It was a weak moment in a good storyline, but it didn't take away from the match. It didn't take away from really anything. But no. I think there's something to take away from Adam Cole willing to defend the AEW World Title on somebody else's behalf with a broken foot. However, he's not willing to fight for the titles that he said has meant the most to him in his entire career for his own sake.
Right.
And I think that is going to say something down the line of, well, when it was our belts, it was something you weren't willing to put yourself on the line for, but when it's involving something that you want, all of a sudden you have all this gumption, you have no problem, and the painkillers are working enough to where you can defend, you can try to defend for that belt.
Or maybe the opposite. I sacrificed, I wasn't able to help you with those tag team championships belts. I'm not cleared.
Right.
But I was going to sacrifice my health and my wellness by jumping into this match to help you you don't lose this.
But I'm just saying, if you
selfless act.
If you have something that you're sharing with somebody, you and I buy a car. We both have our jobs. One of us loses our jobs. And we're now, the other person's taking and paying for the entire car, right?
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you do anything you could to help pay for that car?
Well, sure.
But doesn't it seem a little fucked up that if it was your car, that the only reason you're doing it...
Oh, but see, that wasn't my car. That was your car.
That's our car.
No. I didn't help you with our car.
I'm just saying.
But I helped you with your car because I didn't want you to lose your car.
But that's their belts.
I didn't want you to lose your car.
But that's their belts.
I understand that.
And the reason that MJF...
I wasn't cleared for that.
The reason that MJF is defending these belts, the belts that he never intended to win,
but he
is because Adam Cole said that these were the most important things of his career.
Sure.
And as a friend, he was stepping in and doing it. I'm just saying.
But medically, he's not cleared.
I'm just saying.
He can't.
I think this is going to come back to bite Adam Cole in the ass.
I think you've got this wrong.
I think you got it wrong.
Doc Samson, no way cleared Adam Cole.
Then why would he clear him for that match?
He didn't clear him.
But he was on his way down.
Not with Doc Samson in hand.
He was on his way down to the main event. He walked down there with crutches. Were him and Doc Samson
fucking holding each other's hands, smacking cheeks?
I didn't see
what's talking about.
Cheeks? What are you going on
great
about?
Great memories on the beach? No.
We had a tangent that is just...
Adam could barely walk.
You've gone into a tangent in space. Who is clapping cheeks on the way down to the ring with Doc Samson?
Smacking cheeks.
Oh my God, the coffee has worn off. Lethargia is starting to set in.
What the hell's lethargia?
It's words that I make up. That's why we do a podcast. Did you not know that? That as a podcast host, you're allowed to make up words so that it makes sense?
I mean,
has nobody ever heard me fumble around the words I bullshit through this podcast?
Theory podcast?
No, there's no conspiracy to it. I 100% listen to every episode of Coffee and Wrestling podcast. I sound like I have a speech impediment and just keep on going like it ain't nothing. No, when that coffee starts wearing off, we go on these weird tangents about clapping cheeks with Doc Samson.
No, smacking cheeks.
What's the difference? If you're smacking or clapping, it's all at that point it's intimate.
You never seen a good butt and want to smack it?
I mean, I've never seen a good butt and want to clap it.
Yeah. I mean, I've never felt like there's just a better opportunity for a segue than this one. Let's just move right on into WWE. They got lots of smacking cheeks over there, right?
Doc Samson, call me. I think I need a cigarette. WWE coming up on Survivor Series in Chicago this weekend. So far, we have 5
war
matches.
Games.
Yeah, 5 matches are announced. 2 of them being War Games.
Soon we'll hear Regal. What was it? 2023.
I think 2024. The beginning of it is when he can actually make TV appearances.
Right.
So it's right around the corner. But we have two 4-on-4 matches with War Games. We also have the Women's World Championship up for grabs between Rhea Ripley and Zoe Stark. We also have Gunther and The Miz will be fighting for the Intercontinental Championship, not the International Championship, and not the Continental Championship.
We got a babyface Miz, guys.
Yeah. We also have...
I'm sorry, did I strike a chord?
We also have Carlito and Santos Escobar, I guess, having a grudge match from the LWO fallout over the past couple of weeks.
Yep.
But you got a lot to say about Gunther and Miz. What do you?
Do I have a lot to say?
What do you think's going to happen? Who do you think's taking this one? We're doing predictions. If you haven't realized, we're doing Survivor Series War Games predictions here.
Okay, I'm going to say it again, and I feel like a broken record.
Say it.
My
Break that
predictions
record, baby.
for the WWE premium live events have been so vanilla.
I mean, you mean applesauce?
Applesauce.
Straight
They're not
applesauce.
exciting, guys. They're not exciting. I'm sorry, I don't have these cool theories.
Well, this is the only problem you have with having.
This is what I got.
Like when you have 12 pay-per-views, like every 4 weeks, there's a pay-per-view with WWE.
Right.
And it's too goddamn much. It's too much. Like I feel like you need to have that brand split again, just so you can have 6 and 6.
Right.
Because it's just
too much to digest. Me personally, I cannot in a million years see how the hell Miz would win this.
No.
Not that he couldn't win this.
Not right
but
now.
After like everything Chad Gable's been through
Right.
and the multiple times Ricochet's tried to get it back. And
hell, even Ciampa, like with that small run he had against Gunther for a while.
All these things that people have had lately and are unable to defeat him, and here comes the Miz one time and wins it.
Right.
I mean, it would be one hell of a story for the Miz if he was able to pull it off.
Oh yeah, and I mean they'd be able to make it work for storyline wise. But yeah,
and no offense, his finisher on Gunther would be so candy ass.
Oh yeah, Gunther's got at least like a foot on him.
I mean, that would just look so weird. I don't think Gunther could sell that quite well. So
no.
I just am not seeing it. I think Gunther's got to hold on to it for a little bit longer. Not yet.
I agree. I gotta go with Gunther on this one. I think he's walking away with that title, continuing his longest ever reign with the IC title of all time.
He's just killing it too much.
Yeah, I mean,
it's interesting too, you know.
And I just don't think Miz, not that Miz doesn't deserve to take that quote unquote streak.
Right,
and I feel like 2020 and beyond, we live in the world of streaks now. Ever since Taker's streak has been gone, but I feel like Miz he's not worthy to take that streak right now.
Not right now.
I don't know who though. I mean, I thought Chad Gable was going to be it, but I feel like it was too oddly timed with how close he was to the Honky Tonk Man's IC title run,
Right.
So
exactly.
it didn't make sense. So
we all knew there was no way he was going to win it.
And I mean, we can always go back to Gable and Gunther, but I feel like at this point it kind of cheapens it a little
forced,
bit. You know what I mean? So I mean, who knows? Who knows even how long they're going to have this run for? I mean,
I don't know.
You're getting to the territory of Roman Reigns run. Not that it's getting close to Roman Reigns' run, but
not everybody needs that super long run.
Yeah, the top run of the company, and I know they're trying to do that so that you can have more current superstars be the top guys in the entire company.
Let me theorize with you here and speculate maybe who could be the next person to take his belt.
That I have no idea.
I'm just throwing somebody out this week. I always have somebody different, but this week.
Oh, you've got. I thought you were asking me. Oh, go ahead.
If they can make a belt big enough, Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed, I could see that, but I feel like
he's got
need to
a good
build
push
it a lot more.
up. I'm not saying yet. I'm just saying he's got a good up and up, a good push. They're constantly saying he's big, so he's worthy enough to be big in that circumstance that they can justify Gunther losing to him and everything too.
Well, yeah, like you said, Miz doesn't feel like it would be a realistic competitor against somebody like Gunther.
But Miz is going to sell those moves that Gunther hits him with.
Oh yeah.
That's what Miz really shines at. Unfortunately, he is the new Dolph Ziggler.
Miz is also going to put butts in seats.
Well, yeah,
which is the most important aspect of WWE wrestling.
And man, that promo he hit the other day, babyface Miz, wow, I loved it. I ate it up.
It was really good for Miz being so criticized for his babyface runs. It feels like he could do it really well here, but I feel like he's going to get his feet taken out from underneath him with this loss against Gunther. I feel like it's just going to diminish anything babyface wise with the Miz, and he's going to instantly turn back to asshole Miz directly afterwards, which I think is the right way to go. I'm not saying it's it's the wrong way to go.
I try to be the nice guy.
I tried to be the nice guy, and look what happens. I get my ass whooped by a giant German man at a pay-per-view. You know what I mean? So I think that's the right way to go, and I think that's the right way for both of them in the long run.
Now, as you stated before, Rhea Ripley will be defending her Women's World Championship against Zoe Stark. I'm just going to go ahead and make the pretty obvious call here and say absolutely no way Rhea Ripley is dropping this belt either.
Same story.
Yeah.
Same exact story. Zoe Stark's a great talent, although she's
on the up and up.
Right.
You know, she had that with Trish. She got rid of Trish. You know, she was able to fight Becky Lynch. Like, she's really developed a lot in the few months that she's been in the main roster.
They've done a good job handling her.
They have, but no way is she taking Mommy's belt.
No, not with how much fire that Mommy's got behind her right now.
Absolutely not.
And especially after the events that happened at the end of Monday Night Raw with Drew McIntyre. Like, she seems like that she's still on top of that pile. And I'll delve a little bit more into what I'm referencing here. But it feels like they have a lot more plans for her with that black and purple faction that she's in. I don't think that she's going anywhere. I don't think that belt's going off for any time soon.
That would be a silly move, I think, personally.
I don't think they've even come close to having somebody that's capable of taking that belt with how hot she is right now.
Not right now.
And
no.
that's both like hot as in temperature wise and hot as in heat wise on SmackDown.
Sure,
or,
absolutely.
Raw, I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely going Rhea Ripley.
Oh yeah.
Mommy always on top. Yeah. I'm excited to see this match though, because Zoe Stark intrigues me. I feel like when we first saw her, I initially was like I am with a lot of wrestlers when they first come onto the into the main event.
Typical.
Scene.
Who's this guy?
Who's this guy? What a jabroni! This, you know, and I felt like that with Zoe Stark, but within one match of hers, I instantly changed my tone with her.
Yeah,
and
there's something different about her. I don't really know what it is. She does have that, like, I don't know her story through NXT, but she's got that like modern day NXT Shawn Michaels hitting hard. She wrestles very well. She's gotten dynamically better on her promos. You know, I've seen the Botchamania where she forgot her line and asked Trish what she needed to say. And now she's coming out there and able to actually speak. But I mean, come on,
you got to give these people a little bit of credit.
And that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm giving her credit because she's come from that to where she is now, and the small amount of time that she's been in the company, she's done a lot.
Well, if you go from NXT, which is what, a couple hundred people maybe on a pay-per-view, if you go from NXT, maybe not a pay-per-view, to a weekly show of 20,000 people,
right?
Minimum.
Gotta be intimidating.
That's spoopy,
right?
Like, I can't I had to do a speech in front of 3 of our friends for a college class, and I had like my underwear was so far up my ass, I was so nervous, my butthole was so puckered that I mean, I could have sat in a car seat and got into a car accident. I would have gone nowhere. It was like that's how nervous I was. So I couldn't imagine in front of 20,000 people.
Sure.
All 100% their reaction is based on whether you continue to have a job. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's nerve-wracking.
Absolutely.
You have to make random people like you.
Right.
So, yeah, like, she's done a great job. But and even with that, granted, she had one slip up. Maybe she's had one or two more. I like her shtick. I like her confidence. The shit that she's talking to Rhea. You know, it feels like she's already comfortable where she is, and that it feels like she believes what she's saying,
right?
Which is huge when you come from a smaller venue to a bigger venue.
Oh, sure. Well, how can we believe in you if you don't believe in yourself?
Exactly.
If you're hesitant to whether you're going to win or not, of course, we have no confidence in you whatsoever. You're going to lose.
If you're going to talk about no confidence, I feel like this next match is going to be a no-brainer for either one of us.
Okay, what you got?
Carlito and Santo Escobar.
Really? You think it's a no-brainer? I'm interested to see if we see the same thing. Who did you pick?
I mean, Santos.
I did too.
I mean, Carlito, I mean, 20 years ago when he first came out and he was super hot and eating apples and spitting in people's face. Like,
Carlito was the man back in the day.
But he's like in his late 40s, early 50s.
Right.
I mean, he looks good for
he looks fantastic.
You know, for not being in the eye of the wrestling
world. Yeah, but
world.
what's the reason for him to win in this perspective? None.
I think this is just 100% to push Santos in that heel direction, which he's already fit very well in. And a lot of people, I've seen the talk on the internet, have loved that he's going back to that heel persona.
I like that too.
And they're very happy that he's returning back to that. Mm-hmm. I think that, honest to God, out of everybody in the LWO, minus Rey Mysterio, because obviously Rey Mysterio is already a Hall of Famer and he doesn't have to prove anything. I think out of everybody in that LWO faction that they've come up with, the only person that came out on top was Santos Escobar. And he's now completely separated from it.
Right.
And now he's just going to feud with them. And I just don't...
Just isn't helping. And he's got the LWO tattoo. Feuding with them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's an interesting perspective. I feel like it built up so much, but they didn't do anything to help them aside from give Rey the belt. They've lost so many matches. Zelina Vega lost her steam, unfortunately, because she's so good.
She had that match in Puerto Rico,
with
and that
Rhea
was
fantastic, but they haven't done anything, and that was Payback?
Yeah.
I mean, just unfortunate. It's just nothing other than
felt
bad booking. I mean, they're all really, really good.
It felt like they attached a Hall of Famer to 4 up-and-comers, buried 3, and put the Rocket on 1. Mm-hmm. And now you're left with the remnants, i.e. Hit Row.
Sure.
You have one taking off into fathoms unknown, and the other 3 are left in the dust to be cannon fodder for the rest of the system.
Right.
That's what it feels like to me, and it's unfortunate. Because I can't even remember what the other two's name are, because they are so seldomly used or even said that I don't know who they are. And the only reason I know Zelina Vega is, number 1, she is the only female of the group, and number 2, because she is Malachi Black's wife.
Right.
And other than that, I probably would have no idea who she is.
Well, if you don't know who she is or you don't follow her on social media, take a moment to go online and watch her prank called Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty good. That was really good. She pretends to be like a little kid that calls Dominic, and it's real good.
She's like, my mom's driving, and I'm trying to order some food. Can I get some chicken tenders? He's like, little kid.
Chicken tenders are for people with small wieners. So good. Well, Dom Mysterio is going to be involved in something here that same day. He's going to be involved in one of the War Games between the Judgment Day.
Oh, God, I didn't even realize Dom was going to be in it.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like something Dom would do, but...
it's going to be 4-on-4 the Judgment Day.
He might have
Damian
some PTSD
Priest,
being in prison.
Finn Balor, Dirty Dom Mysterio, and JD McDonough, the newest member of Judgment Day, officially gave the members bag. I don't know. Can we touch real quick? They're taking on Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn in the War Games match. There's a lot to unpack here.
Biggest baby faces in the company.
There's a lot to unpack here. But I feel like I gotta ask a question. Is there like a uniform for Judgment Day? Because Damian Priest welcomed JD into the Judgment Day by giving him a duffel bag of, I don't know.
Hopefully a manual, rules and regulations.
I was thinking more of like handcuffs, whips, gimp mask,
eyeliner, hair
and then
dye.
hands him a jacket. That it's like a members only jacket.
Oh, so they never specified what was in the duffel.
I don't think they did, unless I missed something and he pulled the jacket out of the duffel bag, which I feel like again brings up more questions. Why do you need the duffel bag?
Let me ask you a question. Was it a Judgment Day duffel bag?
I don't know. I don't remember the segment.
If it was,
well.
sold.
But even then, does everybody get a Judgment Day duffel bag when they join? Does that mean I can go on WWE.com and buy that Judgment Day duffel bag?
Right.
Or did they have that specially made for Judgment Day? Is it filled with Judgment Day exclusive? I want to know what's in this bag.
Are there personalized items for
Where's
JD?
Everybody else's jacket?
Does he get like a patch that he puts on the front of his leather?
WWE, I've got questions, and you're not giving me the answers.
Yeah.
So. But we also have a little bit of an additional member that might be joining this War Games match.
Sir Drew McIntyre?
Drew McIntyre ruined Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso's chance to get their WWE
weird.
tag team. I was just going to not acknowledge it and keep moving on. He ruined their chance to get their tag titles back.
Right.
And when he went up to the ramp, Rhea Ripley comes out, gives him the nod of approval, shakes his hand.
So small compared to him.
Yeah. Which is saying something.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if he's going to be joining them for War Games or what he gets out of teaming with Rhea Ripley.
Somebody that's that big of a babyface to side with the other team?
I do have one possibly new returning individual.
New returning,
I guess, for, I don't know, it's been a while since he's been on TV. I mean,
who might that be?
Randall K. Orton has been rumored that Survivor Series may be when we see him again. If we see him again, there's been a lot of reports of whether he will or will not return to professional wrestling.
Okay. Will Doc Samson clear him?
Doc Samson doesn't work for that company anymore. Maybe that's what
smacking cheeks with Doc Samson.
Maybe that's how you work with AEW is you got to smack cheeks with Doc Samson. But yeah, there's rumors that Randy Orton might come back for Survivor Series. Which, that brings up another question. That the rumor might be
a lot
also
of questions.
The rumor is that he might also be the opponent for Shinsuke Nakamura if he is to have a match at Survivor Series. Shinsuke has been hinting towards an individual, an opponent that is. God
help WWE if it's CM Punk.
There's just been a couple of little things here and there that, I mean, it could go either way. It could just be an individual or it could be Mr. Phil Brooks. I mean, they are in Chicago. I mean, but if you're going to have somebody join the face team, I don't think Phil Brooks is a good candidate.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He's got a couple of...
Actually, especially since Seth Rollins has recently come out and told CM Punk, do not come back here. We don't want you here, Phil.
Plus, I mean,
it'd be really awkward to be like, hey, you guys are on the same team.
I think Phil's going to have a real big issue working with one of his former bosses.
Oh my God, you are totally right, and I didn't even think about how awkward that would be.
I know, right? Hey, you quit and I got fired. How you doing? We're on the same team. Let's make this work.
Yeah, I'm nice now.
I almost ruined the company that you and a few of your friends built.
And this one that we're both in, so.
Yeah, I promise I won't do it again. Never did anything wrong in this company. Oh, wait, yes, I did. Lots of things. Phil, stay away, you cancer. No, that's...
You cancer. No, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it.
But, I mean, Randy Orton.
And Randy Orton make a lot more sense if he's even cleared.
And then CM Punk can then face Shinsuke Nakamura because he's not doing anything else on Saturday.
Good God. Also, no.
Why not?
No, thank you.
You don't want to see Phil Brooks back in WWE? Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you bring him back like Adam Copeland. CM Punk is gone. There's no more CM Punk. There is only
they don't do real
Philly
names.
Brooks.
They don't do real names, so it's Philly.
Philly Phil.
No,
remember that kid Philly Phil?
Yeah.
Philly Phil sucked.
Yeah.
Jade Koth knows Philly Phil.
Philly Phil. Oh, good Lord, that's so random. At any rate, please no to CM Punk coming back. Please no to CM Punk versus Shinsuke. And please, God, stop doing the go to sleep. Yeah. I think Shinsuke might be the worst I've ever seen. Just stop. I don't know if they're doing that just to tease it, just to get people to be interested. I don't know what their intention.
I mean,
I don't know. Kenta must be just.
Could it be Kenta?
Seething. No. Aww. I mean, he did say, if you pay me enough money, I'll do it.
I mean, Kenta's made it very clear. He'll pay if you pay him enough money, he'll do whatever.
Yeah.
He even said he'd be willing to fight Punk as long as the money was there.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen that, but that would have definitely been the end of CM Punk's probably life.
Oh, 100%.
Not just his career.
All right, so who are you going with? Are you going with the face side, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn? Or are you going Judgment Day side, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dirty, Dom, Mysterio, and JD McDonough? With the possibility of a fifth member being added to each one of them.
I just feel like, okay, my heart went both ways real quick.
Okay.
I went baby faces all day, and then I instantly thought, think about the product.
Okay.
Think about what WWE would do. Put yourself into their mindset, and they are trying to push the Judgment Day so much.
Right.
That they could use this huge War Games match against all these baby faces to put them over. Rhea retains their belt. Judgment Day win. I just, me personally, can't see it going any other way.
I'm going to go the other direction. And for the exact same reasons that you said, is that I think that for the product, you have Damian Priest has been kind of making an ass out of himself the past couple of weeks. Not quite getting the wins when need be. He's kind of flying off the handle. He has been a little bit unruly, even for Judgment Day standards. Now you've got JD McDonough, who's doing everything he can and does pretty much everything barring anything out of his own control to help the Judgment Day. I think we're going to see Damian Priest be the reason why that they lose War Games. Mommy retains, and because Judgment Day, because Damian Priest has quote unquote labeled himself as the leader and has been appointed as the leader for the War Games match, I think he's going to end up taking the brunt of this loss. And you're going to have even bigger cracks in that Judgment Day Foundation, and he's going to break off and eventually go on his own singles run. Finally,
I was thinking
now that he's got some steam behind him, unlike before when he joined this.
I was thinking
Judgment Day.
maybe JD gets the pin and gets the win for Judgment Day, gets all the credit.
Right.
Damian kind of doesn't get anything, and now JD's more appreciated and
so same vein, just different way to get there.
Better than Damian. Yep, exactly. And Damian's starting to see, like, okay, Rhea doesn't want me to cash in. Okay, JD's being appreciated, and Finn, they're getting appreciated, but what about me?
Right. Nobody's helping me cash this title in, or this briefcase in at all. I should have won this by now.
Yeah, maybe it goes the other direction.
Same basic destination, just two different ways to get there.
Yeah, interesting.
I still think that they're going to lose. And I know I'm right, because I am the predictions champion.
Okay.
Finally, we have the women's War Games match between Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch, who was just recently added on this past SmackDown, against Damage Control of Bayley, Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. I don't have the announcer. I'm not an announcer. I'm a podcaster.
That's fair. Can I say one thing?
I'm allowed to fuck up the names. See, that's another... Did you not know about these unwritten rules for podcasting hosts?
Actually, you usually do.
You can ruin everybody's names. You can make up words. And you can forget to post your podcast, and instead of post last week's, like we did that one time, and we had
double
somebody
post
call
it,
me
and you have the guys from Winley tell you that they think you messed up.
I did mess up.
You did mess up. I just want to say one thing. It's not my fault. I just want to say one thing, just because we're talking about the women's War Games match, and Becky Lynch just so happens to be the last person to be added to this War Games match.
Yes, just because they needed some backup and were getting their ass kicked.
Yep, she has become the first player in Jeopardy history to go through 60 hints without giving a single correct answer. Yeah. I didn't see it, but that must have been a slaughter.
I guess it's a little bit pulled out of context. There was more to it than just that. It wasn't like she guessed 60 wrong answers. She just didn't do that well.
Yeah, there were 60 hints, and she didn't get any of them correct.
I mean, I
just saw a picture, and she was $2,500 in the hole.
Right. She definitely went in the negative. It's not. It's not to diminish the idea that she didn't look good with that performance. But I feel like the headlines definitely blew it out of proportion a little bit. So let's give the poor girl some credit. Besides, she's had a broken nose and has gone through more shit in that than most people that were on the internet talking about.
She's more of a man than most.
Mind your motherfucking manners. But yeah, it was kind of funny. I heard about that. I was like, well, yeah, she can kick your ass, but she's not much for thinking. That's okay. I can relate to that.
That's okay.
Beat me over the head with a hammer, I'll be all right. Put math in front of me, and I'll be confused for a week and a half.
Great, Mr. Engineer.
Mr. Engineer, yeah.
All right, so again, we've got, here we go, faces and heels.
Faces and heels. I mean, it's classic
wrestling.
War games. War games math. I honest to God, I got to go with Damage Control.
I got to agree. I don't know if I'm going with heel factions.
Yeah, I feel like...
How stupid would it be to have these women lose?
Oh, especially with what they've got going on right now.
They just formed all these women together as a faction.
Now, do you think, and I think this is pretty obvious, I don't think I have to say this like it's a mystery, do you think that this is going to be what makes Bayley go bye-bye out of Damage Control?
Nah, I feel like that's probably too soon.
And also, what's going to happen with Dakota Kai?
Well, I also thought that too. She's not doing anything.
No, but she's been kind of shown as like the fourth and final member of the new Damage Control, and it seems like Bayley's like just on a time crunch of how long until she gets kicked out.
And Bayley's so good. It's just, this has been like a really long storytelling of Bayley, Damage Control, EO, what was going to happen between them. Ever since she's turned heel, she's been like this. Mm-hmm. She went from being a hugger to Bayley. And she's so good no matter what she does. Face, heel, anything in between. She's so good. But I mean, she is due for a face turn. She really is, and I think that would be great. Yeah. I really do. I think that would be great. And during this match would be the best time for that to happen, because you have all of your faces on one side. You got Bianca, Charlotte, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch. Two of them Bayley has a storied history with and I was being the four horsewomen. She's got Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch on the other side. Mm-hmm. Perhaps for some reason she gets inspired and she's just, hey, and she hugs them. Yeah, Yeah, well... And she has that moment where she's like, oh, wow, I don't do that anymore. It's funny you bring that up, because you remember, I think it was when Kairi Sane debuted, or it was the week after,
they all hugged in the ring, and she even said, "Oh, I don't do that anymore," and was real unsure about it. And when everybody hugged, she was like, "Oh." Like one of those, like, I forgot what this feels like, kind of like, ooh, this feels good.
So what if that happens and they kind of tease that and she's like, oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's like the slip, you know? It's like Daniel Garcia. I am a wrestler.
Right. That's the thing that turns this into, you know, maybe it's not her getting kicked out of Damage Control. She's leaving Damage Control. Yes. Because Damage Control is toxic. Ah. So there you go, some millennial talk for you.
Toxic.
But yeah, I think we're both. So are we both going Damage Control in this one?
We're going Damage Control. We've got one match out of 5 that we don't agree on. So
which
there
is
will
be the men's War Games match.
Either a changing of the Dudley Boys Cup.
There will not be the changing of the championship of the CAW predictions. Make sure you get in on Twitter the day of the pay-per-view premium live event. Tweet out hashtag CAW, or I'm sorry, hashtag. Yeah, CAW predictions.
Yeah, you got
Getting my hashtags messed up.
I'd really love to know what everybody else is thinking. Your perspective. Do you think that the heels factions are going to lose?
Right.
Or are they going to win? I'm just really curious to see what you guys think.
It's going to be a fun War Games.
Changes? Like,
you know, I think it's funny, we talked about there's only like 5 matches on this card. There might be another one added on, but I always forget the War Games matches. They take so long.
That's the majority of it, exactly.
It's not like it's a 5-on-5 bell starts and they're all fighting. It's 2 men start or 2 women start, and over, I think, 3 or 4 minutes, the next person comes in.
Exactly, and the match doesn't technically start until all of the
participants,
members.
Yeah,
correct.
And then the match starts.
Correct.
And then I believe it's
that
first
whole
fall.
process is correct.
Right.
That whole process getting up to everybody just getting into the 2 rings is monumental. But yeah, that's probably going to take up the majority. They might have one more match. So.
Right. So I'm sure this week we'll see which side ends up having their next person come in first, because that always gives them an advantage throughout the entire first portion of it, because at certain times they always have one up on the other team, which, you know, in hockey you call that a power play. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, so Survivor Series War Games this weekend. Let us know what your predictions are. I'm tired. I think we're done with this podcast for tonight.
Thanks for listening, friends.
We're at
sticking with us.
Hour and 17 minutes.
You got this far.
Yeah, it's been
You're awesome.
It's been a journey. We went on a whole bunch of different tangents, talking about smacking cheeks with Doc Sampson.
Cheeks, you know.
And you know what? That's what we do here. Is we drink a little bit of coffee, we talk some wrestling, talk some smacking cheeks.
Yeah, sometimes we talk about how to clean your coffee pot. You know,
comparing smacking and clapping.
These are important things that you need to know.
This is why you listen to us. Because
stuff you should know.
The caffeine's wearing off. So I think that'll do it for this episode of Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I'm pretty sure I made a TikTok, but I haven't gone on there since. We're on Threads. I don't think anybody uses Threads anymore. Make sure you follow us on all those at CAW Wrestling Pod. You can follow me on my personal Twitter at Gunk Dudley. You can follow my gorgeous wife and co-host Jamie. What's yours? At A Bacon Party. No, we still haven't figured out what a bacon party is yet. If you know what it is, let us know. Make sure you start your week off right every week with a fresh episode of Coffee and Wrestling, a wrestling podcast. We post at 4 a.m., so it's up before you are, so check us out. Let your friends know. Let us know. Give us a 5-star review on Spotify. And thanks to all of Apple you that Music. Randomly have. Wow. Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. We will catch you in the next one. Bye, friends.